up, Philippines City volunteers distribute aid vouchers to 6,600 families in Tanawan. We see how seniors in Taiwan now find a new purpose after retirement by taking care of their grandchildren. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up, in the Philippines, on January 14th, in preparation of the upcoming aid distributions, volunteers visited Tanawan of Leyte Province to hand out relief distribution family cards, a form of aid vouchers to 6,600 families. A low-pressure system brought morning showers to Tacloban City. Scheduled to meet volunteers in front of the chapel, many residents have been waiting in line since early morning. Luckily, the chapel staff opened their doors for residents to wait out the rain.
Our volunteers held banners and said to those they came across, "Sir, man, please help the Typhoon Haiyan survivors," and they bowed. Whether it is 1 peso or 5 pesos, $1 or $5, no matter how much, we humbly thank you for your contribution.
Understanding that the aid which disaster survivors will soon receive in fact comes from an accumulation of love canvassed by city volunteers worldwide, volunteers encourage disaster survivors not to give up. As the disaster areas are still without electricity, the beams of light that shine through the chapel windows test the volunteers' willpower and eyesight. A former typhoon survivor herself, Marikina City volunteer Jennifer can relate to the hardships and distress that these disaster survivors are going through now.
Although it's not a gift from me, I am still happy nevertheless, because this voucher will greatly help residents. With this, they will have the opportunity to rebuild their lives and homes.
Come lunchtime, volunteers quickly gobble down the meal that was supposed to be their breakfast.
A lot of people are waiting for us. They need our help.
This home made from a hodgepodge of materials was built by Leolyn and her husband 3 weeks after the disaster.
All our belongings were washed away and we were left with nothing. This is newly built. We used whatever materials we could find.
A home without a bathroom or toilet, Leolyn has to collect water from her neighbor's house. However, what matters to Leolyn and her family now is having a roof over their heads. Upon receiving the voucher, one can see hope in her smile.
I will go collect the aid on time.
We visited these two towns just before the new year, and tomorrow we will head over to Paulo town. Those towns and barangays situated along the shorelines were the hardest hit, and the extent of the damage was severe. Huge waves came crashing into homes and even almost destroyed the houses built with cement.
With a heart to help, city volunteers separated into teams and entered the hardest hit areas of Tanawan, delivering love from across the globe to those in need. Staying in the Philippines on January 13th, when students of Maras Baras National High returned to school, they found 5 new classrooms on their school grounds. As it's turned out, these prefab classrooms were the gift of the city's construction team, who hurried to complete them before classes resumed.
Here at Maras Baras National High School, 5 prefabricated classrooms are complete thanks to the efforts of city volunteers during the weekend. To show their appreciation, the students sang a song, while the administration and teaching staff give volunteers a plastic bottle filled with coins to show their gratitude. Fearing volunteers will not be able to understand her message, the principal speaks each of her words slowly.
Our gratitude to the Chutchi family. It would be a great help to our children for their education. At least we can continue again our education.
Listening, every word is etched in the volunteer's heart.
To the Chutchi family, we salute you. Thank you and God bless from the Maras Baras National High School teaching staff, administration, parents, and community. Thank you so much. Mabuhay.
A warm hug answers the principal's speech. In tears, Tzu Chi volunteers realize how fortunate they are to be able to give and help others. Volunteers then hand out pastries to students while encouraging them to take action to clean up their school. Taking the message to heart, the school is soon free of debris. Although saying farewell, it is not goodbye, as Tzu Chi's spirit remains in the hearts of everyone here.
Also in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at Santo Niño Barangay in Tanawan of Leyte Province to conduct a disaster assessment. Here, volunteers discovered that classes have been put on hold as many makeshift classrooms at Santo Niño Elementary School are flooded every time it rains. Let's take a look.
Arriving at Leyte Province's Tanawan City, one finds children playing in the rain here at Santo Niño Barangay. But why are they not in class on a school day?
School, Bob.
The school is flooded, so there's no class.
Concerned about the interruption to the students' education, Felicitacion, former principal of Santo Niño Elementary School, shows Tzu Chi volunteers the destruction the school endured from Typhoon Haiyan. Although Felicitacion has been transferred to another school, her heart remains close to the students here.
You will just come here when the school is already ready, just like it.
Only about 60% of the students have returned to school, and it's obvious the number of desks and chairs is not enough for everyone. But each step forward is another step towards normalcy. Currently, Santo Niño Elementary has only 2 classrooms. One of them is constructed out of wooden boards and fabric and is being used by 5 classes. Another is a tent, which 4 classes are using. However, there are no students here today because when it rains, there is a chance students will contract skin disease in the dampness. These makeshift classrooms are actually considered safe. As you can see, the rest of the school grounds have been heavily destroyed by Typhoon Haiyan.
Look at the conditions. We don't want the students to be in class because they will get sick.
Behind the fallen wall is 4th grader Hensi's old classroom. Even though the school is flooded and there is no class, Hensi still comes.
I'm not doing anything here today. I just wanted to visit.
Klase.
May klase? Kaya naman?
Para kami maka-eskwela.
From first day of school on January 6th to now, there has been very few days of class due to the continuous rain that has fallen in this area. These students simply want to resume learning. The school days, once taken for granted, are now treasured.
In Taiwan, to improve their family's financial status, many married couples decide to continue to work even after having children. Instead of leaving their toddlers in the care of a certified nanny, many are now turning to their parents for help. This inadvertently has given many retired seniors a new purpose in life. Here's more.
13-month-old Xiaoan is very active, but only gets to see his parents every day by video chat, for they are all the way in South Africa. Xiaoan tries to hug his mother by touching the monitor. Unfortunately, she is some 14,000 kilometers away, trying to build up the family's fortune with Xiaoan's dad, leaving Xiaoan in the care of his grandparents.
Our children need our assistance, so we set aside our original plans. By leaving their children in our care, they can rest easier.
In Taiwan, according to government statistics, 55% of primary caregivers for infants under 3 years old are parents, while 33% are cared for by their grandparents.
As dual-income families increase, when young people go to work during the day, grandparents will look after their grandchildren.
Of households with married couples, 54% are dual income. As young couples go to work during the day, they leave their children in the care of their parents. Such kind of childcare is growing in popularity.
People often think leaving children in the care of grandparents is outdated because we actively promote certified childcare programs. However, childcare based on strong emotional bonds works the best.
To provide their grandchildren with comprehensive care, many grandparents, like Xiaoen's, are enrolling in childcare classes, such as the ones available at government-established childcare resource centers.
Grandparents inherently want to spoil and overprotect their grandchildren. However, through our program and coaching by instructors, they learn to let go, so their grandchildren can learn happily.
When I raised my own children, I was also trying to build up my own career. There was also financial pressure, so I was not patient enough with my kids. But it's completely different now that I'm raising my grandchildren.
Because he wants to do this, so he borrowed many books to try to improve and correct himself. He's getting better.
The government is aware of the benefits of childcare by grandparents and thus has introduced a subsidy program to help. For grandparents who care for infants 2 years old and under, they will be subsidized 2,000 NT a month. If the grandparents have a nanny certificate, the subsidy increases to 3,000 NT a month.
Because of the new government program, our classes have seen a complete reversal. Most are attended by seniors now.
A senior share the young's burden by taking on childcare duties. Many say they have found a new purpose in life after retirement.
The induction of the new Tzu Chi recycling point in temporarily of eastern Malaysia means volunteers can now recycle day and night. Tzu Chi's dedication to charity and environmental conservation has also inspired many local resident and Tzu Chi care recipients to take action by turning trash into gold.
After the establishment of Tzu Chi's temporarily recycling point in Malaysia's Sabah, many residents developed the habit of recycling every day, including 67-year-old Luo Shaokui.
I saw how Tzu Chi volunteers carry themselves, whether in recycling or whatever they do. They do it with a compassionate heart, with dedication. So I said, why can't I do the same? By doing this, I feel very happy every day.
Immersed in the joy of giving, Luo has taken a liking to recycling. He collects tin cans from restaurants on foot and washes them clean, for he knows even the smallest action can generate immense compassion.
I must wash these cans because Master Zhen Yan once said, purification begins at the source.
A senior care recipient who is hard of hearing takes action as well. Under the scorching sun, he still rummages through trash for recyclables to give to Tzu Chi.
He says many people don't have enough to eat. By giving these recyclables to Tzu Chi, the poor will have money. So what he means is to help those less fortunate than him.
Before Tzu Chi's assistance began in 2013, Mr. Wu scavenged to get by. Now he brings his finds to the new recycling point.
Seeing them come here to devote themselves makes me very happy and touched, because I only mentioned it to them and they started coming here on their own. They do know that the money that fund our relief work comes from turning trash into gold.
Recycling means quite a lot to me because I have received aid from Taiwan's Tzu Chi Foundation. Now I'm open to helping those worse off than me.
Once those on the receiving end, many care recipients now continue the cycle of love by paying forward.
In China's Yunnan, prior to their first ever winter aid distribution, local media volunteers went through a training workshop organized by their counterparts from Taiwan. And when the big day came, they seized the opportunity to put what they have learned into practice.
At each Tzu Chi event, media volunteers use their camera and pen to chronicle touching moments. During the most recent winter aid distribution held in Yunnan's Qinglong town, a group of novice volunteers arrived ready to use their newly learned skills for the first time. Shorthand is a basic skill for writing volunteers. Unable to understand the local strong accent, volunteers write down what they can understand and double-check with the interviewees later. To be a media volunteer, one must be sharp and able to adapt, as well as be able to promptly capture moments before they disappear. Back to the day before the aid distribution, these volunteers were learning how to operate the camera equipment.
It's clear when I see how other people operate it, but when it's my turn, I'm totally lost.
你不能在挑人家最忙的时候去采访人家，所以要看。OK 吗？
一支录影带，它用 DV cam 的话，它就是录40分。
Media volunteers from Taiwan seize the chance to pass on as many skills as possible to their counterparts in Kunming.
压下去，这样有没有比较好一点？然后这边一定要用到底。
To make sure this first ever winter aid distribution in Yunnan is chronicled in the history books of Siji, the trainee volunteers seized every opportunity to practice and ask questions.
慧雅师姐一来，好会教耶！从教我们就是最初的那个，从脚架开始使用，然后那个。
Sister Huiya is a good teacher. She taught us how to use the tripod, operate the camera, and how to change its volume. We are happy to be learning these skills. It turns out photography is not as hard as we thought.
哎，录影难不难？不难，才过。
Now I've learned better how to use cameras. I'm more confident when it comes to being a media volunteer.
欢迎到自己来微笑，欢迎别人一直微笑，对不对？
Group activities are common icebreakers at Siji events. Li Guoqin, a young yet experienced volunteer, is dedicated to training new volunteers in Siji's group activity planning team.
你把她当姐姐一样，然后以姐姐的方式跟她交流和沟通。
I treat my trainees like my elder sisters. That means I'd rather share my experiences with them instead of teaching them what to do. Gradually, they will become better when leading participants in group activities.
Traveling over 100 kilometers by train, Nin Hongxiu from Chuxiong traveled to Kunming to help. Inspired by Ziji's compassion, Nin decided to put her time into good use by working as a Ziji volunteer and even invited her best friend to join her.
It's a great thing to take part in Siji's volunteer work, so I wanted to share it with my best friend.
When I heard that she would be going to help at a winter aid distribution, I said I want to come too. She said it's difficult, but I said I'm not afraid of hardship.
The winter aid distribution does much to relieve the needs of local residents. However, what Siji volunteers hope for is that their love will also reach their hearts and minds.
Back to the Philippines, Typhoon Haiyan left many at a financial loss, including Chen Hongyang, the son of a Chinese entrepreneur. However, after participating in a tea gathering organized by Tzu Chi and witnessing how the Buddhist NGO's Cash Forward program has brought his city back to life, Chen was inspired to join the volunteers' ranks. The destruction left behind following Typhoon Haiyan is still evident here at Kenkambato Bay of Tacloban, with many buildings flattened to the ground. For Chen Hongyang, the son of a Chinese entrepreneur, the experience was traumatic.
After the typhoon, corpses were everywhere, and so was the garbage. The cars couldn't pass these streets and everything was in a mess, so we thought about leaving Tacloban at the time.
Seeing how his home of over 30 years vanished overnight and how Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program brought the city back to life, Chen was moved to join the volunteers' ranks.
Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program involved tens of thousands of participants. We saw photos of how certain areas have become cleaner over time.
We are at the hotel and I asked him if he could come. He said he would come right away.
Upon receiving a Tzu Chi volunteer's text message, Chen Hongyang arrives immediately at the local hotel to help translate for our DaAi TV reporter. Despite having to deal with his loss after Haiyan, Chen is always happy to help his fellow villagers.
These young people have been inspired and they are moved to take action. We must make sure that inspiration continues so they can go on to invite more people to join our cause.
Receiving Tzu Chi's grey uniform, Chen vows to join Tzu Chi's work in reaching out to the needy.
不认识这边任何人。
Tzu Chi volunteers don't know anyone here, yet they do anything and help anyone in need. I think that if everyone had that same attitude, the world would be a better place.
那这个世界会变得更好。
The catastrophe has inspired residents of Tacloban to reflect on their way of life and has also given Chen Hongyang a different take on how he will face the days ahead. In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, Tzu Chi volunteers while helping disaster survivors get back on their feet to community tasks which seemed initially impossible to achieve. And behind each of these seemingly impossible missions are a group of volunteers who made the impossible possible. One such person is Tzu Chi volunteer Cai Congmiao. Let's take a look.
The master said, Cong Miao, you should handle this matter. In truth, it's a lot of pressure. Because what the Master wants us to do, we should always do to the best of our ability.
Master Zheng Yan's words and expectations left Cai Congmiao with many sleepless nights. With no diplomatic ties with the Philippines, where was the Chinese plane bearing relief aid supposed to land? How was Tzu Chi going to partner up with local banks with regards to the consolation cash?
Thankfully, everything went very smoothly. Why? Because the government knows that no other organization has stayed with the people through the entire process like Tzu Chi has.
Because of his modest demeanor, help came in from all quarters.
When I ask others for help, it's not to help myself, but to help those in need. With everyone helping where they can, we can work more effectively.
At this charity fundraiser for Typhoon Haiyan survivors, influential figures from Manila have arrived to show their support. Tai seized the opportunity to speak of Tzu Chi's ideals and philosophy.
The next phase of help from Master Chen Yan is to rebuild the home. Not only the house, but to rebuild the home.
An entrepreneur who has the ability to rally 100 responses to a single call, the situation is quite different at home. It is Tai's wife, Liu Huishen, who brings the family together to take on more for Tzu Chi.
We accumulate wisdom on this path of cultivation, and in turn, we become more tolerant of others.
As influential and as successful as Tai is, Tzu Chi's work always remains a priority for him.
If the master gives me an instruction, I will carry it out immediately, regardless of the day or time.
We go back to China at the end of today's show. As Chinese New Year is just around the corner, Tzu Chi volunteers in Xiamen organized a New Year banquet for their senior care recipients. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.